Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is called Parshas Ve'et Hanan, and Moshe prayed, and it's the second portion of the book of Devarim. The entire book of Devarim is Moses' preparation for the Jewish people for their entering into the Holy Land. On another level, all of the words of the book of Devarim are also preparing each and every Jewish person to be able to be successful in facing up to the challenges of living in this world. There are many special sections in this week's Torah portion. We have the Ten Commandments. There's also the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hear, O Israel. Each Jewish person has to hear that the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. Also is one of the commandments, the first commandment about studying Torah. And it says, V'shinantam levanecha. You should teach it to your children. It's a very interesting language, this V'shinantam levanecha. V'shinantam, the main commentary Rashi brings from the Talmud, Shinantam from the word l'shanein, meaning sharp, that the words of the Torah should be sharp in you. You should be able to give them over in a clear way without stuttering, without hesitating if somebody asks you a question. The word levanecha means not only your children, but also your students. Your students are called your children. Still, why is the first verse that speaks about the study of Torah talking about teaching children? So the Lubavitch Rebbe has a very interesting explanation. He says that, the Torah is God's will and wisdom. The Torah is infinite. How is it possible that a person who's finite can study the Torah? Okay, but when a person begins his study of Torah by nullifying himself, by making himself small, by nullifying himself to the giver of the Torah, by then it's possible that he can open up the conduit for something infinite to enter into something finite. This is why the first commandment, the teaching of the Torah, is about teaching children. When a person pushes himself and he learns the Torah not because he wants to not because it's his intellect, not because he wants to understand it, because he has to put himself in the place of the child. He has to learn the Torah in a way that even that child will understand it. Then, when a person makes himself small, he's actually creating that vessel to be able to learn the Torah. This is what it means that when I make myself small, the Torah is not about intellect. The Torah is when I realize that for me to take on the Torah, I have to be small. I have to be a vessel. That's what opens up the conduit. Shabbat Shalom. Each of us should be able to, when we teach our children, to use it as a vehicle, that I should be also able to connect with God Almighty.